TV7 Israel News is made possible thanks to your generous donations. Shalom and good evening. This is TV7 Israel News broadcast to you from Jerusalem. And in today's top stories, tensions are mounting within Israel's right-wing bloc over Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's declared decision to adopt the U.S. administration's regional peace initiative in its entirety. A new poll reveals that Israelis are split down the middle over whether to assert Jerusalem's sovereignty over the West Bank. Tensions are mounting surrounding the Temple Mount in Jerusalem's ancient city. Tensions are mounting within Israel's right-wing bloc over Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's declared decision to adopt the U.S. administration's regional peace initiative, which includes, among others, Washington backing of Jerusalem to assert its sovereignty over portions of the West Bank, including the Jordan Valley and parts of the biblical districts of Judea and Samaria, which amounts to about 30% of the disputed territories. The opponents of the deal include several prominent settler leaders, including David El-Khayani, who is the chairman of the Yesha Council, an umbrella organization of municipal councils of Jewish communities that are situated on disputed territories exclusively and actively promote the Jewish settlement of the West Bank and Gaza Strip as part of their declared goal to return the Jewish people to their ancestral homeland. In an interview to the domestic Haaretz Daily, El-Khayani condemned the American Peace Initiative over the fact that, in its essence, it aims to grant the Palestinian statehood on the ancestral homeland of the Jewish people, which the Yesha Council fervently opposes. El-Khayani further proclaimed that President Trump's proposal proved that he is not a friend of Israel. In an immediate response to this interview, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu rebuked El-Khayani for his ridiculous allegations, which are seemingly tainted by his obstinate attitude. The Israeli premier was quoted by the domestic Yediot Achronot Daily as saying, "President Trump is a great friend. He has led historic moves for Israel's benefit. It is regrettable that instead of showing gratitude, his friendship has been repudiated." It is important to mention that David El-Khayani does not have the support of the entire Yesha Council, which is torn over the American so-called regional vision for peace. Among others, the mayor of the West Bank settlement of Elkanah, Asaf Minzer, was quoted by domestic media as saying, "The settler movement has been waiting for 50 years for the application of Israeli law, which will mean citizenship with equal rights. Are we going to throw that away? First of all, we have to accept what is offered." Well, the Israeli right-wing camp is seemingly projecting a terror over the prospects of Jerusalem's evident bid to adopt the Trump administration's so-called deal of the century in its entirety. A study by the Israel Democracy Institute revealed that half of the Israeli public supports the application of Jerusalem's sovereignty over the internationally disputed territories. According to the study, dubbed the Israeli Voice Index for May 2020, the 50% of Israeli citizens that support Israeli annexation are also divided down the middle vis-a-vis whether to advance with or without American support. In contrast, less than a third of Israelis oppose asserting Jerusalem's sovereignty over the West Bank, while a staggering 20% of Israelis said they have no clear position on the issue. The study further found that 58% of the Israeli public believes that applying sovereignty over the disputed territories will cause the Palestinians to launch a third intifada, which is the Arabic term for a popular uprising that is usually afflicted with violent components. Meanwhile, in the West Bank, Israeli border police troops conducted an operation in the West Bank village of Beit Omar, which is situated northwest of the city of Hebron. During the operation, the units uncovered a number of self-improvised explosive devices, prompting the arrest of 2 Palestinian suspects. According to the police spokesperson's unit, the 2 suspects in their 30s were arrested and are currently being questioned. This specific operation is just one of many ongoing efforts by the Israeli police and IDF forces to locate and thwart terror-related activities across the West Bank territories. Turning now to the city of Jerusalem, where one of the imams of the Al-Aqsa Mosque, Sheikh Ekrima Said Sabri, who formerly served as the Islamic Grand Mufti of Jerusalem, was put under house arrest last weekend after the controversial Islamist preacher was once again caught opting to instigate violence against non-Muslims on the Temple Mount. Amid growing tensions vis-à-vis the Israeli-Palestinian conflict, Sheikh Sabri, who has been a prominent advocate for an Islamic jihad against Israel's control of the Temple Mount, has once again found himself in trouble with law enforcement authorities. Prior to the reopening of the ancient compound for Muslim worshippers last Sunday, intelligence emerged over Imam Sabri's intention to organize together with the Palestinian Fatah organization a political Islamic procession on the Temple Mount. After the information was corroborated, Sheikh Sabri was immediately informed that he was banned, alongside two other organizers, from entering the ancient compound.
The Israeli National Police are continuing activities in Jerusalem with emphasis on East Jerusalem in order to prevent any gatherings by any terrorist organizations such as the Fatah that we saw this week. They planned an event on the Temple Mount and that event was stopped before it took place. 3 people were detained in connection with preparing that event, and our units are mobilized in and around Jerusalem and will respond as long as necessary.
Infuriated about this decision, the Palestinian Fatah movement opted to organize a protest against the Israeli measure next to the Imam's residence in East Jerusalem, despite the fact that Fatah, which is a Palestinian movement headed by President Mahmoud Abbas, is legally barred under Israeli law from operating in the capital of the Jewish state. Scores of Arab residents of East Jerusalem sought to hold the protest nonetheless, in defiance of a Jerusalem court order, which Israeli police presented to the Islamist sheikh. While several scuffles were reported, police managed to disperse the crowd. Police spokesman Miki Rosenfeld confirmed to TV7 that 3 suspects were indeed detained at the scene and are being questioned. He once again emphasized that police will prevent all illegal activities from taking place by any organization that is acting against the specific laws against terrorism. Once again infuriated about the ban of a Palestinian organized protest in the Israeli capital, Sheikh Sabri accused the police of brutality while further highlighting that the Arab residents of Jerusalem will act to defend Al-Aqsa at any cost.
هذا أسلوب غير قانوني، أسلوب غير حضاري. لا يريدون من أهل القدس أن يتحركوا، لا يريدون من أهل القدس أن يرفعوا صوتهم، ولكن نؤكد على أنه الأقصى هو جزء من إيماننا وعقيدتنا. سنبقى مع الأقصى وسندافع عن الأقصى مهما كلف الأمر، وأن هذه الأساليب غير الحضارية، هاي الأساليب العنفية وهي الغطرسة.
It is important to explain that Sheikh Ikrima Said Sabri, who was fired from his post as the Grand Mufti of Jerusalem in 2006 by Palestinian President Mahmoud Abbas after openly supporting suicide bombings, has for years promoted an armed struggle for an Islamic reoccupation of Jerusalem. Among others, he declared in an interview he gave to the New York Times magazine in 1999, quote, "If the Jews want peace, they will stay away from Al-Aqsa. This is a decree from God. The Haram al-Sharif belongs to the Muslim, but we know the Jew is planning on destroying the Haram. The Jew will get the Christian to do his work for him. This is the way of the Jews. This is the way Satan manifests himself. The majority of the Jews want to destroy the mosques. They are preparing this as we speak." Thank you for watching us. As part of TV7's Global Prayer Initiative, and in light of the evident, deep-rooted social distress during these days, I would like to encourage you to join myself and the team here in Jerusalem today to once again pray for the salvation and peace of the United States in general, and our brothers and sisters in the Lord in particular, alongside our ongoing prayers, of course, for the peace of Jerusalem, the salvation of Israel, as well as for all those who are impacted by the corona contagion worldwide. I would like also to take this opportunity to thank all of our partners, as your dedicated support by means of especially prayer as well as finance allows us to serve you with our daily TV7 Israel productions. I'm Jonathan Hassan, have an Erev Tov, and we will see you again tomorrow at the same time.